What if the dream motorhome you've been saving for just dropped 30% overnight? 3 million used motorhomes are being dumped onto the market.
Service records reveal problem after problem with the new RV.
Repossessions, trade-ins, and returns flooding auctions coast to coast. Dealers call it a reset. Insiders call it a panic. Either way, it's the biggest power shift in motorhome history, and it decides who loses 20 grand and who saves it. So where is this flood coming from? How deep will the discounts go? And when should you actually buy or walk away? Because by the end, you'll see this isn't just a sale. It's survival from something worse. The silent surplus. Across the country, a quiet tidal wave is building in storage yards and dealer lots. More than 3 million used motorhomes are lined up for resale, a number so large it could crash prices for years. At the Mannheim, Indiana auction, a 2-year-old Fleetwood Bounder that once sold for $189,000 fetched only $128,000. In Texas, whole rows of Class C units sit unsold beneath faded stickers that still promise adventure awaits. Every week, another transporter unloads a dozen more trade-ins, while lenders grow nervous about floor plan exposure. The surplus began quietly, buried in quarterly reports, but is now spilling into public listings faster than buyers can absorb them. Even large wholesalers admit they have no more space to park new arrivals. The number of unsold units now exceeds anything seen in the last decade, and storage operators warn they are running out of room. The release window just opened, and once the surplus escaped storage, everyone began asking how such an avalanche formed in the first place. Pandemic boom. During the lockdown years, manufacturers mistook panic buying for permanent growth. Between 2020 and 2022, production nearly doubled as factories in Elkhart ran 3 shifts, pushing out close to 100,000 motorhomes a year. Zero-interest loans and stimulus checks made anything on wheels look affordable, and first-time buyers rushed in. But by late 2024, travel habits had normalized. Interest rates climbed above 7%, and that mountain of debt became a drag. Inventory that should have been sold over 5 years came due all at once. Analysts warned of saturation. Yet the lines kept running until warehouses were full. Now those same companies are quietly unloading their backstock through dealers and auction houses at steep losses. The units built for the great outdoor boom are coming home to roost, and they are crowding every yard in sight. The first offloads start this quarter. As the glut hit retail channels, the front line felt the pressure first. The dealers themselves. If you've already seen prices crash in your area, drop a comment below. Hit like so more owners see what's coming, because the next discount wave is already building. Dealers overrun. Walk any dealer lot from Ohio to Nevada and the story repeats. Pavement packed edge to edge. Banners fluttering over machines nobody can finance. Managers whisper about floor plan interest piling up faster than they can discount. A new Winnebago that listed for $210,000 last year now wears a tag reading $159,995 and still sits unsold. Smaller independents are renting overflow space at county fairgrounds just to park trade-ins. Credit lines tighten as banks demand collateral audits, forcing dealers to liquidate nearly new units for cash. Some have begun bundling packages of unsold coaches to wholesalers at 30% losses just to keep payments current. The once rosy summer shows now feel like clearance sales under fluorescent light. Each sticker a silent confession that the party is over. One exhausted sales manager summed it up with a grim laugh. "We can't store them anymore." Yet the flood doesn't stop at crowded lots. It seeps into the quality of what's being dumped next. Quality flood risk. With liquidation accelerating, corners are being cut everywhere. Units that sat through last year's hurricanes in Louisiana or winter storms in Iowa are resurfacing on auction sheets as lightly used. Water-stained insulation is painted over. Electrical corrosion hidden behind quick repairs. Buyers chasing bargains often never see the fine print. Voided warranties, unpaid recalls, or missing service records. Inspectors report a surge of repossessed motorhomes showing evidence of long-term damp, black mold, and brittle seals. In one Missouri yard, Rows of identical Class A shells glisten faintly from the inside, not from polish, but from moisture trapped under plastic film. Dealers under pressure list them anyway, banking on quick cash before deeper issues emerge. For every legitimate deal, 3 questionable units slip through. As the flood reaches every region, even honest sellers risk being dragged down by the rot spreading through the supply. Thousands of keys rusting in flooded yards. Owners underwater. For thousands of Americans, the dream on wheels has turned into a slow-motion debt trap. A retired couple in Oklahoma bought their motorhome in 2021 for $210,000, proud to finally tour the country after decades of work. Today, the same model lists for $145,000, and buyers still hesitate. Fixed-income owners can no longer afford rising insurance, storage, and fuel. Younger families who financed during the pandemic now face monthly payments higher than their mortgages. Many thought the motorhome would hold value like a second property. Instead, it sinks faster than a car. Online forums fill with posts asking how to sell without wrecking credit scores. Some are walking away, surrendering titles rather than chase refinancing. For a generation that saw travel as freedom, the collapse feels personal, almost like betrayal by an industry they trusted. It was supposed to be freedom. And when owners start defaulting, the next group to feel the pain is the one that lent them the money. Finance chain strain. The banking system built around motorhome loans is tightening by the week, squeezing both new buyers and longtime owners. Lenders that once approved purchases with barely 10% down now demand 20 or even 30, and interest rates climbing past 8% crush fresh applications before they reach underwriting. Insurers are joining the retreat, layering surcharges on older, high-mileage, or flood-prone units while trimming coverage options. In Nevada, repossession crews report a staggering 40% jump in pickups compared to last year. And the same pattern repeats in Texas and Ohio. Each retrieval adds to the growing surplus already choking auctions, driving resale prices even lower. Credit unions quietly revalue collateral, writing down portfolios that once seemed untouchable. Dealerships dependent on instant credit approvals now face daily cancellations as financing evaporates mid-signature. For households living paycheck to paycheck, a single missed payment triggers a domino of late fees and penalties. The safety net that powered the boom has completely torn. When the finance dries up, sales freeze overnight. With money vanishing and repossessions stacking up, the next shock hits the backbone of the community, the repair and service network. Service network unraveling. The fallout reaches far beyond buyers and lenders. In Elkhart, the unofficial capital of the motorhome world, independent repair shops report 50% fewer work orders than 2 years ago. Parts suppliers once shipping every day now open only 3 times a week. Warranty claims clog phone lines as manufacturers delay approvals to conserve cash. A single missing alternator can keep a coach idle for months, leaving owners stranded with depreciating assets. When dealers close, local economies lose mechanics, cleaners, and even food truck vendors who served the lots. Towns that depended on seasonal shows watch hotel bookings collapse. The slowdown is a chain reaction. Fewer sales mean fewer repairs. Fewer repairs mean less revenue. And soon entire communities face layoffs. Workers who built these machines now worry they will not fix them either. The repair lifeline is snapping. Yet while the industry bleeds, a different kind of crowd is gathering on the edges, waiting to strike when prices hit rock bottom. Buyer gold rush. Across the country, cash buyers are circling the wreckage like prospectors in a busted mine. They scroll through listings at midnight, looking for the one deal too good to ignore. A 15-year-old diesel pusher listed for $28,000 sells within hours. At first glance, it feels like opportunity. Retire early, travel cheap. But behind the markdowns hide rust, hidden leaks, and unpaid recalls. One buyer in Tennessee boasted about snagging a Class A for half price, only to discover a warped chassis from flood exposure. Another walked away lucky after catching a falsified maintenance log. For every success story, 3 others end in expensive surprises. Smart shoppers now pay independent inspectors before signing anything, because the difference between a bargain and a disaster can be a single missed hour under the hood. They don't know what's hiding under the shine. Manufacturer retrenchment. Inside the factories of Elkhart, the hum of production has turned into an uneasy silence. After years of expansion, major manufacturers are quietly scaling back. Internal memos from Thor Industries reveal plans to reduce assembly shifts by 1/3. Forest River has postponed 2 upcoming model launches, citing market realignment. Winnebago's quarterly filing shows warranty reserves being trimmed, a move analysts call a warning sign of cash strain. Workers report empty supply bays, and supervisors asking them to take voluntary unpaid days off. Paint lines that once ran non-stop now idle half the week. Suppliers are told to pause shipments until further notice. The cuts are spreading across Indiana, Ohio, and Kansas as demand evaporates. Each cancellation ripples down the chain, from parts fabricators to upholstery shops. The overbuild of the pandemic years has turned into industrial paralysis, and every brand is scrambling to protect balance sheets. They're freezing orders nationwide. As factories slow and balance sheets shrink, the wider economy starts to choke under the same pressures that fueled the collapse in the first place. Macro pressures, rising interest rates, record fuel costs, and changing travel patterns have created the perfect storm. The average loan rate for a new motorhome now sits above 8%, compared to barely 3% during the boom. Diesel hovers near $5 a gallon in western states, forcing many owners to park their rigs indefinitely. Airlines have recovered. Hotels are cheap again, and campgrounds once booked solid now advertise half-empty weekends. Families who once saw the open road as an escape now calculate every mile as a cost. Inflation keeps spare parts expensive, and long-haul trips eat through fixed retirement budgets. The used market implodes not only because of oversupply, but because fewer people can afford to drive. Even rental fleets are downsizing as operating margins vanish. What began as an industry hiccup has turned into a national affordability crisis. The journey itself is becoming unaffordable. Those national pressures don't hit every region the same way. Some states are drowning in inventory, while others are bursting at the seams. Regional disparities. The collapse of the motorhome market looks very different depending on where you stand. In Florida, insurance premiums for coastal units have doubled after back-to-back hurricane seasons, and flood risk assessments now scare off lenders entirely. Dealers there cannot move stock fast enough. Rows of luxury Class A models bake in the relentless sun behind faded reduced price banners. In Arizona, relentless heat has warped storage conditions, cracking seals and softening interiors. While banks hesitate to finance vehicles exposed to triple-digit temperatures year-round. Meanwhile, in Colorado and Montana, buyers still line up for rugged all-weather rigs. But there is nowhere left to store them safely. Counties are running out of licensed spaces, and storage rent has tripled in less than 2 years, driving owners to improvise lots. California sits between both extremes, where new tax surcharges and emission rules push owners to sell early before tighter restrictions hit. The imbalance distorts national data. One state's fire sale becomes another's waiting list. In Florida, they can't sell. In Colorado, they can't store. And as regional divides widen, the very idea of owning a motorhome is shifting into something entirely new. If you want insider timing before the next market drop, subscribe now. Every upcoming report exposes new dealer tactics, survival tricks, and the models about to crash next. The ownership model breaks. What was once a proud badge of independence is evolving into a subscription. Rental platforms like Outdoorsy and peer-to-peer apps now list more than 500,000 privately owned motorhomes available for temporary lease. Younger travelers prefer sharing over buying, while retirees look to offset costs by renting their rigs out seasonally. Startups in California are testing rolling membership fleets, offering access to a rotation of vehicles instead of long-term ownership. Manufacturers, desperate to survive, are quietly partnering with rental networks to guarantee usage hours rather than sales. Van conversions are booming again, built on used chassis and stripped of excess electronics that scare off buyers. The market is turning away from possession toward access. Cheaper, flexible, and low risk. In this new order, owning may soon be the most expensive way to travel. Ownership was the illusion all along. Smart buyer tactics. If you plan to buy before spring 2026, timing and precision will save you tens of thousands. The market flood is not over, but by January, the sharpest discounts will start surfacing. The smartest buyers use 3 steps. First, verify history. Every coach should come with a traceable title, full service logs, and flood clearance confirmation. Second, negotiate storage or delivery rebates. Dealers desperate to move stock will cover months of storage if you simply ask. Third, always demand an independent inspection. Pay $200 now or lose $20,000 later when hidden rot appears. The safest window for real bargains falls between January and March of 2026, when lenders reopen lines but before spring travelers rush in. Every step you take today must protect your future self, not tempt a quick thrill. Do this before the flood peaks. And while buyers have a roadmap to survive the downturn, sellers face a tougher race against time and collapsing confidence. Seller Survival Playbook. For current owners, selling early can mean the difference between relief and ruin, between cashing out cleanly or being trapped in the flood. The rule is simple. List before your neighbors do, because timing is everything in a market collapsing this fast. When the second quarter hits, the wave of used listings will drown visibility and erase bargaining power. To stand out, price at least 5% under comparable units, even if it stings. That small sacrifice attracts serious buyers while others chase impossible numbers. Use tax season to your advantage, when refunds briefly boost demand, and showcase maintenance receipts, service records, and upgrades, not sentimental stories. Today's shoppers want proof of reliability, not nostalgia. Prevent storage rot by keeping batteries charged, tires rotated, seals lubricated, and fluids fresh. A sitting motorhome loses value faster than one that's driven weekly. Wait too long, and your buyer pool shrinks into the wholesale abyss. Your buyer disappears faster than you think. But even beyond personal survival, the entire industry is reshaping under the weight of this correction. The industry reset. The shockwave is forcing a new order across manufacturing and distribution, shaking the industry to its core. Dozens of smaller brands will not make it through the next fiscal year, leaving giants like Thor, Winnebago, and Forest River to absorb orphaned warranties and stranded customers. Bankruptcy filings are rising month after month, yet new challengers are stepping in to fill the gap. Chinese electric and hybrid startups are already testing low-cost modular designs aimed at efficiency and quick assembly. American newcomers are pivoting towards stripped-down durability. No unnecessary electronics, just solid craftsmanship and dependable materials that longtime owners actually trust. Expect shorter models, simplified interiors, and components engineered for easy repair instead of showroom flash. The era of oversized luxury, fragile slide-outs, and over-designed control panels is ending. What emerges could be leaner, tougher, more affordable, and built for value-conscious travelers who care about longevity, not status. The American motorhome may never be the same again. And after the dust settles, the question everyone will face is not about prices or profits, but what this new road actually means for the way we live. What comes after? When the flood finally recedes, a new landscape will emerge, reshaped by lessons no spreadsheet could predict. For some, it will be a long overdue reset. Motorhomes finally becoming affordable again for working families, retirees, and first-time buyers who once felt locked out by soaring prices and dealer greed. For others, it marks a permanent contraction of freedom, a sobering reminder that ownership dreams can turn into financial traps overnight. The vision of a rolling home may soon yield to shared fleets, compact trailers, or van conversions that trade luxury for practicality and independence for efficiency. Yet even amid the wreckage, opportunity still glimmers. Those who adapt early, verifying history, timing sales, and buying with strategy instead of emotion, will rebuild confidence long before the next boom begins. What started as a brutal collapse could evolve into a smarter, leaner movement built on reliability, thrift, and common sense. Whether it becomes a rebirth or a retreat depends on how cautious travelers act right now. The next correction is already forming. The road ahead won't be easy, but it's not the end. It's the reset. 3 million used motorhomes flooding the market means danger for some, opportunity for others. The smart ones will wait, watch, and strike when the chaos clears. Protect your savings. Verify every deal, and never buy out of fear. Because the next phase of this collapse won't warn you. It'll arrive overnight. Stay sharp, stay ready, and remember, the smartest travelers don't panic, they prepare.